Hello and welcome to another planning appeal case study video. I'm John Peters, and in this video I'm going to explain how we overcame a recent refusal by South Kesteven Council for our client. This planning appeal was to overcome the refusal for a porch and first floor side extension that was refused by the local authority, South Kesteven Council Planning Department. Our client was initially booked in for a free no obligation consultation to run through the refusal reasons that had been used by the council and to evaluate if an appeal was viable or if an alternative option would be best suited. The free no obligation consultation, which took around 15 minutes, found that this case was viable for appeal to the Planning Inspectorate, taking the decision process away from the local authority. This case was refused by the council for the following reasons. By virtue of the design and proposed materials, the proposal would not be in keeping with the character and appearance of the host dwelling and the surrounding street scene. As such, the application proposal would be contrary to local and national policies. There are no material considerations in this case to outweigh the identified harm by virtue of the conflict of the development plan. The planning inspector in this case identified the main reason for the case were the effect of the use of the external render of the character of the experience of the host property and the surrounding areas. Many of you who have similar refusals are repeatedly stating that you had little or no correspondence throughout the application process, and the first thing you knew was receiving the refusal notice from the council. In some cases, even when you just received the letter from ourselves. We completely understand that the planning process can be very frustrating, the costs involved, the time it takes and so on. But do remember, we deal with this on a daily basis for others just like yourself. With planning appeals, experience does matter. Our specialist appeal team, who handle over 2.5% of the planning appeals in England and Wales that are currently produced and submitted, start by producing a comprehensive and robust appeal statement. And this specific case covered 29 pages, just over 5,900 words. It's important to detail in the appeal statement where the local authority failed in their assessment of the case and how, where possible, both local and national policies apply in favour of the appeal. Additionally, if possible, bringing in similar cases that the Planning Inspectorate found in favour of at appeal. Obviously, with our back catalogue of wins, we're able to use these cases and what the inspector said in them as additional argument to support the case we're working on. Once an appeal statement is completed, we send the document to our client, asking them to check out that they are happy with the case and for it to be submitted. If we need to add any additional information that the client may have forgotten previously to do so, we'll do it at this point, and then it's submitted. It's vitally important that all the documents and responses are submitted on time throughout the process, as failure to do so will result in the appeal not being successful, something we hear about often when people attempt an appeal for the first time. Always ensure you use a professional who has considerable experience of appeals. It is worth asking them for some recent successful planning appeal case studies like you will find on our website. Due to the large number of cases we represent, we have a dedicated team that liaises with the Planning Inspectorate on a daily basis. The inspector started with establishing the main issues and addressing them, and stated in their decision notice that, notwithstanding the wording of the council's reason for refusing the appealing planning application, it is clear from the appeal evidence that there is no objection to the design of the porch and extension. There are no reasons to disagree. However, it is proposed that the render to the proposed porch and extension, as well as the exterior of the appeal property, this is the matter which is in dispute and therefore the focus on the decision. The property stands in a relatively recent housing estate in which properties appear to have been developed at around the same time. Their external walls comprise predominantly of brickwork with a variety of detailing. The materials are replicated with variations throughout the estate. The consistent palette of materials used provides a sense of identification for local character. There is no conclusive evidence that this appeal indicates whether the property or other houses referred to could be rendered under permitted development rights. But in any event, with the context of an estate where brickwork is predominantly external materials, the use of render is as proposed would lead to the property having a highly prominent and somewhat stark appearance. It would be visually jarring and out of keeping with the character of the buildings in its visual context. The inspector goes on to state, "I've considered the examples submitted by the appellant indicating where render has been used in the locality. However, the identified render and cladding have been used sparingly as design detail on predominantly brickwork dwellings. They are therefore significantly different from the total render exterior indicated in the appeal proposal. The other examples are some distance from the appeal site and are not within the immediate visual context of this property. Their designs are also significantly different to those of the proposed properties in the appeal housing estate. Accordingly, these examples can be attributed very little weight in the decision. Furthermore, the proposed materials would not be innovative or amount to a positive change to the local area as the appellant has suggested." The inspector concludes, for the reasons set out above and having regard for all other matters raised, I conclude that the proposed materials would not be in keeping with the character and appearance of the host dwelling or its surroundings. In this regard, the property is contrary to local policies and the design guidance set out in National Planning Policy Framework. However, as the design of the proposed extensions will be acceptable and exterior materials can be controlled by condition, in this regard, the appeal would comply with those same policies and guidance and should therefore be allowed. For this appeal, an independent planning inspector from the Planning Inspectorate visited the site on the 7th of October, and we are pleased to confirm the appeal was upheld and the permission granted on the 18th of October in a 2-page decision notice. There seems to be confusion in relation to render finishes in some areas of the country, and the finish has become popular and fashionable recently. In some areas there does not seem to be an issue, and in others there are different views. I think we'll see a lot more cases like this as time goes by. Clearly the council were wrong to refuse the development, but should have conditioned the materials. If you'd like to find out if we can help you with your planning appeal, complete your online form on our website www.planningappealsuk.com, and our new case support team will arrange for a free no obligation consultation with one of our planning appeal assessment professionals. Thank you for taking the time to watch this planning appeal case study video, and I look forward to producing another one very shortly. Bye for now.